Hey guys, messing around with another project here Sunday. I bought this plow this summer after I was done needing a plow, just because they're so expensive to come by, even for a single bottom. And anyways, this is the first time I've actually brought it over and tried to put it on the back of my little Kubota, and turns out it's made for a whole lot bigger tractor than what I have. So now, since I got it for such a good price, I'm really trying to figure out. Yeah, I got kids all over the place here running around on the farm tonight. So I really needed to sit further back behind the tractor, because it's just sitting so close. I'm guessing that the arms on a bigger tractor would have been much longer as well, but it's way too close to the back of the tractor, and it's actually interfering with my PTO cover right here. So and the other thing is when my hydraulics are all the way up, I'm just barely getting this off the ground, just because the overall height is just so massive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear this sod cutter wheel off, because you can tell this isn't even off of this plow, or at least this portion of it isn't. And I'll worry about remounting that in the right location later. I just want to get that out of my way. So I've soaked this bolt with some penetrating oil, and what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to take this drawbar out of here, and then I'll build some plates, some heavy plates on either side, weld them on, that'll reposition this bar further forward and up higher, further forward and down lower, so that I'll have the clearance behind the tractor for picking it up and down, because when I move the bar forward, it's going to move this whole assembly back, and then by moving the bar down low, it'll give me the ability to be able to pick it up more. Going down is not a problem. You can see how low to the ground my hydraulics go, and this is just sitting on the ground. So if this thing was down in the ground even 12 inches, I mean, they must have used this on a massively big tractor, is all I can think of. So, and who knows, it might just be too much plow for my tractor anyways. But anyways, that's the project. Just going to work on a little here, a little there, but I'll keep the video camera rolling whenever I've made some changes, and bring you the updates as soon as I get it figured out. Alright, so back with a little update on taking this big old farm plow and making it user-friendly on my Kubota. I think the last time I showed you that I couldn't even get it up off the ground. Well, and I thought I was going to have to drop this way down here and maybe move it forward just to get what I wanted, which actually still wouldn't be a bad idea, because there's no problem going down. I mean, I can go down 20 inches, but up was the problem. Well, it turns out that this pivot point right here that this whole assembly hooks onto is purposely made so that if you hit something, that it'll trip, and it's got this bolt right here apparently to keep it from going over rotating. You can see it's bent. I'm probably going to take it completely out of there, or at least replace it. Anyways, it was in the trip position. So when I loosened the big bolt up and rotated it back down to where, when this is sitting on the ground, that the rest of this is parallel with the ground, as you can see, now I can lift it up off the ground 4 or 5 inches. So that kind of solved that problem. Something else that was a concern of mine when I borrowed somebody's plow this spring, and again, this plow that I borrowed was just way too big for my tractor. This is a BX Kubota. It's not the, it's a B series, not the BX. The BX is is the smallest ones, and this is the next size. Love this little tractor dearly, but you know, everything has to be sized right. So anyways, what I'm doing is, you can see this old wheel here. I went and dug that up and cleaned it up, and I put a set of bearings on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount this. So as a depth control wheel, this wheel is going to get mounted. Now I'm trying to hold the video camera and show you, but anyways, I think you get the idea. Is this wheel is going to be mounted here, and I'm going to have an adjustment up and down, but basically this is going to be your limiter on how deep the plow goes. And I know the tractors I grew up with, they actually had a thing built into the top link, which was when you were plowing, so that as the tractor went up and down over, you know, different terrain, that it adjusted the hydraulics so that, you know, you didn't plow shallow someplace and too deep another place. Well, this one doesn't have that ability, so my wheel is going to give me the constant depth regardless of how flat or how hilly the ground is that I'm plowing. That's the idea anyway. So I started to make some of the brackets that's going to go on the side of the plow. This is the shaft that the wheel's going to mount on. I put it at a bit of an angle just because once you're in the furrow and the whole tractor and everything is tipped, I'm hoping that this is going to be about straight up and down. Got quite a bit of work to do to this yet, to the sod cutter wheel, because it's not even for this plow. What it acts like is that the distance from here to here is way too long, so I may end up shortening and moving this whole arrangement, and I don't know what I'm going to get into there. But anyways, just bringing you a little update on where I'm at with trying to get this plow figured out, get it fixed up, and I'll bring you another update as I get more done on it. Alrighty, so trying to remember where my last update was, but I'll show you where I'm at. I got this wheel mounted here that I decided to come up with, and this is basically going to be my depth control. I don't know if you can see down inside here, but I drilled 4 holes at 1 inch center to center spacing, so that I do have a little flexibility. It's going to be one of those things that basically it's going to be set and forget once I find the depth that I want to sink this plow down in, because I mean, you don't want your sod going over top of the mold board. I mean, it needs to be rolling at that point. So and then under here I have this the sod cutter wheel, which is not original equipment for this plow. It came off of something else, and he had it bolted on here, which was probably where the original one did bolt on, but this sod cutter wheel was coming clear back past this and wasn't even working right. So I mean, it should sit in line and just in front of the plow. So what I'm doing here to fix that issue is, this is the offset bar that was with that. Again, like I say, I know this wasn't original equipment, so what I've done is I've already cut this. I'm going to move this up, give myself a little bit of offset. I'm going to re-weld that on here and cut this off, so I'm going to be able to reuse this portion of it, as well as the clamp, and the other clamping mechanism, which uses 2 bolts to go here. As you can see, there's no place to put that, and they were running it up here. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the bracket that bolts here and then has the clamp that goes on top of it, and I'm drilling this set of bolt holes in that so that it can be bolted on to this, and then the other 2 bolts I'm actually going to bring studs through and weld them, and I don't even have that here right now so I can show you, but it's at my workplace. I took it in to get it cleaned up. So once I get that ready to go, I'll bring you that little update, and then I'm wanting to put this thing to work this fall and turn some sod with it and make sure everything's going to be doing good. So anyways, that's kind of where we're at with that. Trying to wrap some of these projects up for the season. Fall's going to be here before I know it, and I'm going to be spending time in the woods with the bow and doing a lot less of these type projects. So, but I do have a couple more coming, so I'll try to keep you in the loop on that. Till the next one. All right, hey, I'm just bringing you another quick update here. So, I don't know if you remember the 4 holes that were in here from the original bracket. Again, I don't know what this came off of. It's not original, but I drilled 4 holes in this bracket that lined up with the 4 holes there to remount this. These 2 holes are what holds the clamp. And if you remember in my last video, this leg went way out here, and then this piece was down here. The offset was way too much for this plow, so I cut it, put it on, re-welded it, given everything a paint job. Working on getting some paint put on a few other items. Got the cutter wheel all cleaned up, gave it a shot of paint, and a little here, a little there. Busy time of the year for me, so I'll keep the video camera rolling as I make progress on this. Hey everyone, just bringing you what could be a final update, at least for this season, on the plow. So here's what I've got. What I ended up doing here, I think on the last video I kind of explained this a little bit, but this whole setup is off a completely different plow, and it used to extend way out here and then down, which put the sod cutter wheel way back past the plow, and there was just no adjustments any way that you could get it to work right. So what I did was they were using these 2 bolts up here in these holes to hold everything together, and this whole bracket was over top of, you can see it's cut out here, and it was just a bad setup the whole way around. So what I did was I drilled 4 holes in this base plate that lined up with the 4 original holes that were in here. Then I drilled and tapped here, you can give you a shot, hopefully you can see that. The sun's awful bright out here today. I drilled and tapped 2 half-inch holes so that you can, if you need to make adjustments, you can loosen the clamp, make those adjustments without the whole bracket getting squirrely. I still think that the wheel should be, it may have to go up a little bit more, and it wouldn't even hurt for it to be forward a little bit more, but I'm going to give it a try here pretty quick. I just greased it up, gave these bearings a little shot of grease, and this is I don't want to say it's an original idea, but I'm kind of anxious to see how this depth control wheel is going to work. I mean, where it's really going to shine is if you're in, ground that's hilly. It's going to make the plow follow the hill instead of, dig in way deep when you come to a high spot and maybe shallow in another spot. But anyways, it's just something I wanted to try. Maybe end up tearing it back off and just doing away with it. So anyways, this has been taking a big old single bottom farm plow and trying to convert it down to something that would work on my B series Kubota. I'm going to take it down here where I'm going to be putting in a new garden next year, and try to turn some sod over with it and make some adjustments, and if I can get the kinks worked out of it, then next year after plowing in the spring, the only thing that'll be left to do is tear this thing all apart, clean it up real good, and give it a paint job. So yeah, so there might be a little update on this, maybe not. Always got lots of projects going on here, and I'll see you on the next one.